Okay, so as promised, hot off the heels of recording the last video, I've got here a whole list of things that you, the reader, can look out for that are sort of like red flags that'll let you know that what you're reading was written by an AI rather than a human author. Now, it should say that not all of this could mean that it's AI. Okay, you might just be reading something that was written by a terrible writer. But we'll go through them anyway. The prompts and responses. Now, this is what fucked up those three authors that were mentioned in my last video. Essentially, I mean, it's not even that they didn't write it, they didn't even read it, and they left the AI responses in there. That is just, that beggars belief, doesn't it? The tyranny of three. This is something the AI always does. It groups things into threes. Look for sentences like he felt a surge of fear, hope and determination, or the room was cold, dark and silent. AI does this because it isn't very good at creating atmosphere, and it actually isn't very good at describing human emotions either. So if things are continually, I mean humans do this as well, but if things are continually grouped into threes like that, there's a very high chance it was AI. Not just X, but Y. The AI's favourite transition. It wasn't just a house, it was a sanctuary. He wasn't just a king, he was a legend. You get the idea. Perfect rhythm in the AI accent. Now, I mentioned in the last video that AI has an accent, and I know that's not the correct term, but it speaks a certain way. You can tell. Humans naturally vary the length of their sentences. Obviously, if you've ever read a book, you know that. For short, long and flowing, then back to short, and even in dialogue, when an AI is writing dialogue, it will all sort of be uniform in length. So look out for that as well. A summary at the end of the chapter or book. And if you've ever used AI, you will know this already. But AI tends to end things by recapping everything that happened. So, if it sums up the events of the chapter or sums up the events of the book, for example, look for things like ultimately or in essence. Repetitive sensory clues. AI seems to be obsessed with physical tells. This is very true. The story will be littered with tight jaws and hitched breaths. Everyone will have a cold, warm, wild, whatever gaze. Gaze is one of the biggest ones to look out for. AI loves a good gaze. It will turn a story into a fucking staring contest. Gaze is definitely one to look out for. Generative AI has a favourite set of words. Tapestry, mosaic, labyrinth, metaphors for complexity, because the way AI, again, it's not very good at creating atmosphere. It's not very good at, it's overly verbose in an attempt to sound smart. But at the end of the day, it's just a large language model. It's just an LLM. It works by using statistically what the next word is most likely to be, which is a bit complex. I can maybe try and explain how an AI writes in a different video, or how it works in a different video. Delve or deep dive. Again, if you've ever used AI and you're looking, like say, researching a topic, you know it loves to delve or deep dive into things. Interplay, nuance, ecosystem. Words that sound academic or smart but say very little, as I previously said. Underscore or resonate, used to emphasise emotional points in a clinical way, because it's a machine. It's not very good at being human. Even some of the more advanced ones like Claude or Gemini, it's exactly the same. They don't feel it. They don't know how to. Even you can train an AI just to the highest standard, and it's still not going to be able to describe human emotion and things like that very well. In human output, that is a big one. If an author's dropping 60k word novel every 7 to 14 days, they aren't Stephen King, they're a prompt engineer. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this should have been one of the big red flags for, I believe it was Lena McDonald. Because I think she released one book and then released another one 10 days later. And nobody thought, that's a bit weird. I mean, Stephen King, he treats writing like it's a day job. You know? He is famously one of the most prolific writers there are. But even then, he still only manages maybe 1 or 2 books a year. And that's prolific. So if you've got an author that's just dropping a book, or maybe even 2 books a month, I would question that. Safety filter leakage. Yes, because AI is programmed in a way, how can I explain it? It's got like safety guardrails. And you'll find this as well, especially if it's maybe like a romance. Any kind of... It'll use safe placeholders for emotions or physical contact. And yeah, they will suddenly break their persona to give preachy lectures on consent, healthy boundaries or ethical behaviour that literally sound like those safety guidelines. M-dashes everywhere. Yep, again, if you've ever used AI, this is something that it always does. It always puts the dashes when it's talking. It's a way for the AI to add descriptive flair without actually integrating it into the grammar. Characters reintroducing themselves halfway through the story because AI has terrible memory. Even if you actually pay for the AI model that you're using, and it saves and stores all of the conversations that you've had, AI still has a terrible, terrible memory. It will sometimes merge 2 things together, or sometimes just make something up entirely. And a character somehow knowing information they shouldn't. A character will somehow have information he or she wasn't there to receive, or will know a secret he or she wasn't told. Because AI, the term for it's hallucinating, but we would just call it making shit up. AI does that a lot. Anyway, those are the main red flags that you should look out for when you're reading in this day and age, I guess. It feels like we shouldn't have to, but clearly we do. Anyway, I hope you found it helpful. Stay safe, guys. Speak to you again soon.